welcome back to another edition of Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate. I'm your co-host, Scott Waddell, along for our 38th episode, and I've got my co-host as well tonight, Caitlin Wesley. And we want to mention our sponsor, American History, and Patrick Hill. And tonight's special guest is a driver from Nova Scotia, and this guy really coming into his own lately. He's got a number of drives coming up at Truro Raceway on Friday night. He's only been driving for a couple years, so I've been watching this guy start last season, and then he's off to a pretty good start this year. And money-wise, already he's climbing the ladder quickly, so I think he'll outdo his numbers from last year. But anyway, I'll send it over to Caitlin to introduce our special guest here of episode number 38.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I've known this guy for a while. I grew up with him, and he's always been in harness racing and always can talk harness racing. No matter where you were, how long you've seen each other, it was always harness racing talk. So I am super excited to dive in. I know a bit about him as I grew up with him, but I like to hear the fascinating side of this young driver. So welcome aboard, Keith Legge, and thanks for joining us for the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I like I say, I was talking off mic there. I've been pretty loyal to all the episodes, and was just dying for my chance to get behind the gate with you. So looking forward to it.
Awesome.
That's good. So we'll get things started here, Keith. Like Caitlin said, a lot of people don't know a lot about you. You're fairly new to the maritime driving scene, just your second year. So tell us, how did you get your start in harness racing?
I'm gonna have to date it back 20 years ago to Emmons McKay. I got to start in the McKay barn. Like I say, it was probably years ago. Dixie McKay, Emmons' wife.
Yes, God love it.
Babysit me. So,
okay.
Babysitter. Emmons started taking me out to the barn, and it was all game over. Every in service, every take your kid to work day, it was always to the barn with Emmons and Dixie and Tammy. I remember, Emmons would take me out, and we'd be out there early in the morning, and we'd have a couple jogged, and Dixie would come out with bacon breakfast sandwiches, and nobody's had a bacon breakfast sandwich like Dixie's. They're unreal.
I heard that.
Dixie's no longer with us, unfortunately, but they're a great family, the McKay family, and some fond memories there. But yeah, they really got me going, and I was hooked for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you start doing around the barn first, as you kind of developed and started hanging around a little bit?
Probably pissing Emmons off, bugging him. I'm like I was talking to him like a lead chain. And then I started with the groundwork, mucking stalls, cleaning water buckets, all that good stuff. And I still remember to this day, my first bandage I ever put on, Tammy said, 3 down, 7 up. So you put your wrap on, and then your bandage, you go 3 wraps down and 7 up. And I'll never forget that. I don't even know how old I was. I might not even have been 7 years old then.
Oh, wow.
No, I remember that. And we were joking there a couple of years ago. I was over in Adam Myrna's barn. There was a bunch of us doing putting away, and I said, I'll take anyone in the competition right now, bandage wrapping.
Bandage and wrapping, yeah.
Adam tipped his hat to me, and I got the W that day. So I guess that's how I got started. And then I'd get on the jog cart with Emmons, sitting on his lap, started jogging.
Yeah.
And then I think I was around 12 or 13 or 14. We could probably look the horse up on Track It, but the first horse I ever jogged was Just Feels Right, all by myself.
Okay.
So he was a classy old horse. I believe they had bought him in Harrisburg, however many years ago that was. And so yeah, he was the first horse I ever jogged, first horse I ever trained, first horse I ever warmed up. So and then it evolved from there. Rhea Chase and her man Wayne Murner at the time, they started coming around the barn, started hanging around that, learning lots from them. And then just got more and more involved. Ended up getting a horse with them. Her name was Mock Razor. She was a
Okay.
wicked mare. So I guess she would be the first horse that I partially owned with
Okay.
Wayne. And then Adam started coming around, Adam Murner, Wayne's brother. And then Adam and I got hooked up and we started having some fun together. And then I graduated high school and moved to Fredericton, New Brunswick with Eddie Harvey.
Oh, Eddie
And
Harvey, yes.
or no, sorry. Before that, I was still in high school. I was part time, and it was in the summer. I started working for Eddie and Kathy,
Yeah.
Eddie's wife Kathy. I started working for them here in Truro, and so we were all stabled up in the upper barn there. It's tore down now, but we were all stabled up in the upper barn. And Adam had moved down from Cape Breton, and Wayne had a couple horses. Adam had a couple horses, and Eddie and Kathy were running their stable out of Truro. They had moved up from Fredericton. And so yeah, we were all stabled up there, and then eventually we ended up back in Fredericton with the stable. So I graduated early and was there for 6 months, and I had become good buddies with Jonah Mouse. He was coming over to Truro racing and stuff, and I was helping him a bit paddock and stuff. And anyway, Jonah was like, "Why don't you?" He was up in Ontario. He was like, "Why don't you come up with me?" So I went up to Ontario, and it was all history after that. I worked for a couple stables up there, ended up getting back home, going back to school, and got out of the game for a couple years actually. While I was
Yeah.
doing my trip. And then I recently just got back into it a couple years ago and got a couple on my own. And yeah, I could go on forever about that, but
Yeah. So what brought you back? So what brought you back? I mean, besides the love of the horses and everything, but like you say, you were away from it for a little bit. What enticed you to come back?
yeah, so I was up in Ontario working the circuit up there. I worked for Jonah, and then I moved over to the Colin Johnson barn, and I worked for Colin.
Okay, you worked for Paul. Okay.
Yeah, I was with Colin for almost a year, and then Corey came back, and I moved over to Corey's barn. He was just getting back, got up to 8 or 9 horses in a hurry. And Colin said, "Do you want going to work for Corey while he gets going?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I don't mind."
Yeah.
So over to Corey's barn and started helping Corey. And then Corey and we kind of got down at, well, I shouldn't say Corey and I, it was his day. Well, Corey got down on horses, and he said, do you mind going? And like, there's lots of opportunities. I just can't, I don't really have enough horses for you and myself now. I said, "Yeah, sure. No, I totally get it." So I went over to the Mark Stacy barn and Sean Stacy.
Yes, good people.
Yes, great people,
I
awesome
heard
people. The very best, to learn from. They'll take you under your wing, whether it's you need a place to stay or whatever it is. They're the very best. Learn lots from them. And then Mom and I hadn't really talked about my future. I was just out there living the life, doing the Jays games, the hockey games, the paddock and the race, and just being a young kid, having some fun at a high school. And she said, "So what are you gonna do with your life?"
Yeah.
I'm doing horses.
Yeah.
Said, "Oh, what do you think about alignment, like your grandfather was?" And I never really thought nothing about it. I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be all right." But like I said, having fun up there, having a good time, and sure enough, it wasn't, I don't know, maybe a couple days or a couple weeks later, Mom said, "You're enrolled to NSCC in the fall." So I was like, "Oh, wow, I guess I better pack my bags and move home."
Yeah.
So that's what got me back home. I went to NSCC in Spring Hill for powerline technician.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my grandfather, he was a lineman for 30 years. So Mom kind of wanted me to follow them footsteps. And like I say, not that I wasn't interested, but I was just having fun up there racing horses. So I came home and went to school for a year and did my apprenticeship. And then Eddie was still hanging around Truro. He moved back to Truro, and Kathy had bought a hair salon, and they had a couple horses there. So I started hanging back around again, and I was getting the itch back and stuff like that. And Kathy said, I got a 2-year-old. Would you like to train him for me?
Yeah.
Eddie had 4 or 5 there, or 6, whatever it was. And she's like, I want you to train him. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. Okay. I'll give him a go.
Yeah.
They brought him down to the barn and he got off the trailer and I threw the harness on him, took him right out and jogged him. And I think we'll talk about him later in the podcast, but
Yeah.
he's now, so that was 5 years ago. And yeah, I'll never be out of it again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So going back and saying that you've been into harness racing for so long, and now that you're a driver, and I know you personally, and I've dealt with you with amateur races, and I'm just wondering, the amateur races, because PEI has the matinee races, they help those drivers and they help bring up, new drivers with that program. With amateur races here, did that kind of help you go for your drivers or even your trainers to, kind of get you started that way?
Yeah, 100%. It was a huge help. I guess the trainers was the first step, but to like getting your driver's license. But the amateur races was a huge help. You can go out and train one all you want. You can train in sets. You can train a group of old horses. You can go out with Eddie and I training the bike together before. Adam Erner and I training the bike together before. But the minute you get behind the gate, it's a whole other feeling.
Yeah.
It's an adrenaline rush. I mean, I even got the chance to train with Randy Waples over Mohawk one day.
And, nice.
Yeah, we had 2 old campaigners, and we were coming down the home stretch of Mohawk, and I ended up beating Randy Waples in a training mile. And so that was pretty cool. And I'm like, that kind of gave me the itch. And it gave me the real itch, actually. And like I say, I ended up going back to school, but I probably would have pursued it up there. And then when I got back home, getting the trainers and getting in the amateur races, absolutely. Once you get behind the gate, there's no other feeling. Yeah, for sure. So it's I hope they keep rolling with them for the young people coming up through, or yeah, it doesn't even have to be young, I guess. But it just for anybody that wants to get that feeling around the barn or around the track, because there's no other feeling like going beyond the gate.
And I know
I totally can't more on that, because I remember my first, going behind the gate, and I was scrambling down here trying to find a third horse to go in for a race, because Sarah Bruce took Elm Grove Maddie, and then Gregory Francis had Jasmo. No, yes.
Oh yeah.
And it was Grand Circuit week, and I was like, I cannot let just 2 horses go out for that race. I was like, I need a third to actually make it interesting. And Andy just bought or claimed Prince Adam, and I never jogged him. I paddocked him. I harnessed. I did all that stuff. I didn't even jog him at the time. And I was like, you know what? I've done jogging. I've done training and stuff. I'm going to take this horse and go behind the gate. Well, I'll tell you, I hit that gate because I was so mad at him for rearing up and everything else that night. That gate felt like it was the biggest thrill. And then going the next year, it felt the same thrill. So it's just like, It's an experience that's, you need to get behind that gate to feel. And it's something that you'll never feel anywhere else, because it's just, everything is tuned out. Joe Kelly, you can't even hear. You're just out there with your horse, and the starting gate guys kill me every time, because they're always like, have fun, like, get it.
It's funny you touched on not being able to hear, like Joe Kelly. Like it is crazy. Like you just get in like this tunnel.
Yeah.
Like I remember last year we were in a tight knit group there. There was 8 or 9 in the race, and I think I was 3rd or 4th down along the rail, and I was just swarm with horses. And I remember Mom saying after the race, she's like, "Were you scared at all, or like nervous?" And I'm like, "No." Like you don't even notice. I mean, obviously, your surroundings and stuff, but I was like, it's you don't even hear it. It's crazy. And like even schooling one and stuff like that, like that's still not the same. The minute like you put like amateur race or like you're not going for money or nothing, but it's a race. Like you're racing for pride or what have you or whatever. But schooling and all that stuff is just not the same. And then an amateur race, and then even I remember going for my qualifying drives last year. It was just cool to be in the paddock, to have that groom hooked and go out for your qualifying drive. Like I remember my first qualifying drive, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then obviously the first pari-mutuel race, like that's it's the real deal. Yeah. So there's not, so back to your question there, Caitlin. Yeah, 100% the amateur races help for sure. Absolutely.
So what finally made you step up and, do your qualifying license and decide to give the drive for real time a shot?
Yeah, so I got my trainers, and I guess the first horse I was down on trainer as would have been Glenview Rambo, and we had a 3-year-old, Better Dance was his name, a Better's Delight colt. We had for one of Mom's friends up in Ontario, and then we had Mom's old horse Crafty.
Yeah.
I'll say it looks a lot easier from the sidelines.
Yeah, I can imagine.
License, like I'm young. I would never ever tell a driver how to drive or nothing. But I'd say wake this old horse, like Mom's old horse Crafty, wake him up a bit. He's a little lazier. That 3-year-old Better Slide, he wasn't 100% on trying. I'm like, get him on the bit and wake him up. And then I got thinking, I'm telling these guys, like, I know the horse. I sit behind it all week. I jog it. I train it or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't I just get my license and drive them?
Yeah.
So I guess that was it. You sit behind the horse, the horse all week, but it's not that easy. I'll say it's not that easy to just get up behind and think you're going to do. Not that I thought I was going to do any better, and I certainly haven't by any means. Still working on that part, but no, I guess you and putting all that hard work in all week, you want to enjoy it at the end of the week too, putting it behind the gate and getting a check or winning or whatever. So I guess that was a big push.
Yeah.
So you've touched on someone that we all know, and I always said that you're a Myrner fan. You're like the biggest Myrner fan I think I've ever seen. And it's kind of been like that since I've ever known you. So can you tell us how the Myrner fan came about, or why you're the biggest Myrner fan?
I just learned so much. Every time I talk to Adam, I learn something. Whether we're talking about horses or not, it's just I'm just always learning. I don't even think I had my driver's license when I first met Adam, like my vehicle driver's license. That's how far back our relationship goes. So, and just hanging out with him and realizing how much he knew about the game and how much I had to learn from him, and so on and so forth. And then I ended up moving to Truro because he was in Cape Breton at the time, and he ended up moving to Truro and just getting to hang out with him and talk to him and watch him how he ran his stable and how he looked after his horses. He does it all. He's the blacksmith. I don't think he does as much shoeing anymore, but he did it all, and his work ethic too, and how he cared for them horses. The horses came first, 100%. And we all know in this game the horses come first. They eat before you do, but he's got it on another level. His horses always look good.
They do.
He cares about them like you wouldn't believe. Every single one of them. I think he's got 8 or 20 over there in brood mares and yearlings, whatever. And I guarantee you, he cares about every single one of them the same. So I mean, I could talk all day, but just the work ethic and the way he cares for them, and I learned so much. Yeah.
So tell us about your very first win. I think it was with an age horse called Preceptor, I believe. So tell us what it was like, Keith, when you get that monkey off your back for the first time. You get that first win behind you.
Yeah, I guess I got the opportunity. Paul was traveling the stake circuit last year, and like as every year, but he was on the road there last year, and Troy Delaney, he was looking after the horse. and they have a couple horses over in our barn because they have so many. So Troy's always in there every morning. We have coffee together and stuff. And he's like, Paul's away this week. I think they're going to put you down. I'm like, oh, really? Like they had given me a couple qualifying drives, quite a few actually. They were a big part in me getting my points from my qualifying drive. So big thanks there. But yeah, they ended up. Paul was away driving elsewhere, so Troy said, "Yeah, they're going to put me down." And I didn't really believe it. I'm like, "No, there's no way I'll get to drive." Or one for Langell, but yeah, they'll put me down, and I ended up. I think it was 2 starts or 3 starts that I drove to work before I got my win. I got to drive him a couple months before, and I think we finished second off the front.
Yeah.
And somebody had said to me in the paddock, he's like, try hit that horse on the left side. And sometimes he gets a little sulky on the right side. So, anyways, we were at the 3/4 pole, and I could feel him getting tired. And I'm like, "You're not done yet, old man. We got to get the job done here." And I got at him on the left side, and geez, didn't he pace on? And halfway down the lane, I thought we had her licked. And then he started coming back to me again, and I seen that it was a Donnie Ellis's horse, tough little guy. I seen his nose to my right. So then I was like, "Oh, we better get back to work here." We were from here to the top board. Anyways, we ended up getting the job done. But yeah, getting that monkey off your back's huge for sure, 100%. It's a huge feeling. They get better and better every time you do too. Yeah.
So this year you have your own stable, and you have a few in your stable. So first one I want to kind of touch on is you've mentioned him already, and I have seen him throughout the barnyard. I've always seen him on the track. I've seen you train him. Glenview Rambo. Tell like what he's like and what he's up to.
Yeah, he's my man for sure. Like I say, he's the one that got me back into it, got me my trainer's license, got me that itch back. He's massive. He's a big horse. When I first got him, he had just come from the field, so he wasn't muscled up yet and stuff. So he needed a lot of miles, and he taught me a lot in between that time. I got him in I think it was September. He was 2. I had got him, and he had ended up turning 3, and he just would not stop growing. The more I fed him, you couldn't fill him. You still can't. He's as fat as a seal in there right now, and he's 17, 18 heads high. Just mad. But he was such a big colt, and he was growing that, and he needs so much work. He was always getting off behind on me, and I just really had to take my time. Like I say, I learned a lot. If I ever get the opportunity to buy one at the sale or have another 2-year-old, I'll do it differently for sure. My girlfriend always jokes with me that I got no patience, and I don't. I always want performing at their best all the time, and it's just unreasonable sometimes. So yeah, we got him to the races. In his 3-year-old year, Adam actually qualified him for me. I was golfing in a golf tournament, and Adam qualified him for me. And I got to the track after, and I said, "How was he?" He's like, "He's gonna be all right, Lagger." They all call me Lagger, my nickname, and he's gonna be all right. Lagger, try this, try that, and like I say, just you can learn so much. You try this, try that, and so anyways, we put him in to go his first lifetime start. I think Caitlin, actually, Andy drove him. Was it his first lifetime start? Maybe. I think it was, and he had the 7-hole, and like I say, he's a big horse, and he loves his job, and he can grab the bit. And poor little Andy, he he tried to time the gate. We ended up missing the gate, and so we had to requalify. Nobody's fault. He's just a big, strong horse. Andy tried to do the right thing and time him because he's green. He was green first lifetime start, and so we re-qualified him. I can't remember who. Might have been Greg Monroe qualified him. Anyways, he went on to race at 3. Took him over to Charlottetown. Adam drove him, and that was one of the best road trips of my life. Eddie Harvey will tell you the same thing. We took Rambo and Fonzie Ciacciarelli. He was a 3-0 better than Cheddar. He was a project too. I went through the fence with him there one race day. He ran sideways from the water truck, and so me and him, he has a little special place in my heart too. But we went over to Charlottetown, and Rambo was second that day. I think we're in the first and second race, or second and third race. He was second to one of Earl Walt's colts. He was a control the moment colt, 2-year-old. Or maybe, yeah, he was 2-year-old. And anyways, Rambo paced the last quarter in 28-1, and really thought we had something here, and didn't know what we had. And then Ciacciarelli, he was second the next race. He just got beaten 56. Jill drove him. So we had a wicked drive home. Eddie and I are like, oh, we might have a couple nice horses here.
Yeah.
Anyways, Rambo ended up popping a hind suspensory the next start. He was second to Wayne Webby's good colt. I can't remember the name of him at the time. He ended up racing in the Metro later on that year. But Rambo was second to him. He was closing hard down the lane, just got beat. And I was like, you never, I don't know what this horse has, but he might have something. And then he popped a high suspensory and brought him back. It gave him time. Colleen said, turn him out for 6 months, forget about him. That's exactly what we did. Brought him back at 4, popped the other hind suspensory. Like I say, he's so big and strong. He was hard. So he never raced at 4. And then I brought him back again at 5 last year. And same thing. He got off on me again there at the start of last year. I gave him some time throughout the summer, and I ended up getting a job back home. I was working in Cape Breton, so I was able to focus more on him. And I had my license there at the end of last year, so that was good. So I got to qualify him and got him right, and ended up winning the last start of the year with him in Inverness. Big horse like that, I'm like, what am I doing taking him in Inverness? He's never going to get around the turns. He paced that for like a shit. And right then I knew we were winning. I tipped him 3 wide up the backside, and we win. It was only a 2-set, and it was back in November. The track was terrible, but there's no number on the paychecks, and there's no number on how much that win meant to me. So it didn't put a win in 210 for all I cared, but just knowing that I got that horse to the races with lots of help from other people, but I had him at 2 and got him to the races, and won with them myself as driver, trainer, owner. So yeah, I love that. As of right now, he's done his racing career. He had a great winter, trained him back, and he popped that high suspension, actually a low suspensory on his bad leg, so his career's done. But that's no big deal. He'll have a home for life, and hopefully he'll be able to get something a little more sounder this time.
How about Play Do?
Play Do. He trained. Got him off of Trev Shives. He's a full brother to Brookdale Seb, and a half brother to Cool Do, who I think everybody knows. Cool Do, Stephen McLeod's person. He's in the same barn as us. So last September, Evie called me. He's like, "Do you want to go halves on a horse?" And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, absolutely not. I don't want no more horses. Told me the background on him, and he said it's a shadow play, 2-year-old half brother to Cool Do. And then my wheels got spinning, and I was at work at the time, and I'm like, I'll call you back. Yeah. I hung up the phone. I don't even know why I hung up the phone. I called him right back. I said, "Yep, I'm in."
Yeah.
So we got him, brought him home, didn't even put the harness on him. Stevie took him home, turned him out till January. We brought him in, started jogging him. Stevie and I both take turns, and then we started training this colt down. And people at the track were saying, "Geez, he looks all right. Who is that? Who is that?"
Yeah.
Play Do, full brother. You give the song and dance. And, he trained down like a bear cat. Loved him, and he was catching the eye of a few people around the track, and training in sets of 3. He had a bit of an attitude problem at 2, so we gave him every chance we could. And I remember the first time I threw him on the bike. I think we went in 2-9, come last quarter in 29. And I come off the track. I said to Stevie, I said, "I don't know what we got here." And I've been fortunate enough to sit behind some nice horses up in Ontario and for people around the track and stuff. And I said, I really don't know what we have here. And threw him in to qualify, and he's a sulky horse. He when we were in a 5-horse field his first qualifier, and nobody got behind him. He needs motivation. So he went in 2-5, and then we qualified him again. Or no, sorry, 2-4. Then we qualified him again. He qualified in 2-2, and Paul Angelo come at me up the backside with Dusty Lane Tito. And this horse grabbed the bit again and kind of paced on and didn't let that one go by him.
Yep.
So much he was, after his first qualifier, I wasn't down on him, but I expected a little more out of him. And then I'm like, okay, you're back in my good books again. He showed me a little something.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's just been a battle. He's had no luck in every single one of his races. He's had no luck, whether it's post position or trying to get one behind him or whatever it is. He's just had no luck. He's growing too. He's massive. He's a big colt, big, strong, good looking colt.
Yeah.
You walk in the barn, he's going to catch your eye, I guarantee it. He's that good of a look. So we took him to Woodstock there last weekend. He's a New Brunswick bred. So we there's 10 horses eligible. Going to be 2 5-horse fields. And, maybe the luck of the draw will draw the inside and maybe beat 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Sure. We drew the rail and tried a different bridle on him. That had nothing to do with it. But like I said, he's a big colt and he's growing. I think he's just in a little bit of a colt sore stage right now.
Yeah.
And, I was leaving off the rail in Woodstock, and I got to drive in the race before that, so I got a feel for the gate.
Yeah.
And I people might say I rushed him out of there or whatever, but I know I didn't. And I talked to 2 people that said, you didn't rush him out of there. As soon as he spotted the turn, he made a break, and we got to wait for it. And like I say, he had no motivation, but we got a 5.
Yeah.
And no, it's all good. But I'm not giving up on that colt, Scott and Caitlin. He's in to go tomorrow night. I got my filly in there, so Robert Laughlin's driving him. He's been around the block. Just change his bridle, change some rigging on him. I shot him up. Stevie and I shot him up there tonight. We changed his shoeing. So I don't know. We're not expecting nothing. Whatever. Hopefully, he just gives us a little something to keep on going forward with him.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
So tell us about the filly you have in the barn, Harry's Line Crew.
Yeah, she's kind of a funny story. Well, I guess it's not really funny. You guys might laugh. Other people might, but we were at Ernie Laughlin's and Michelle Patchkin's house, having a couple drinks, of course. And it was Joe and Arlene's going away party. So Ernie and I, we like having a good time and stuff. So we were at her there, and I joke around with Joe. I said, "You got me when I was vulnerable." He come over. He said, "Do you want to train that filly in the morning?" Because they were moving to Ontario and they were trying to sell her. She's not staked, so I think that might have been why they had some trouble selling her. She's a 3-year-old rolled at Harry, and she didn't stake her. So I think that was the big reason why they didn't sell her, and I think that's the only reason why I have her. Anyways, Joe come up to me at Ernie's. He said, "You want to train that filly for me in the morning?" And I could train jog horses all day long till it's dark. I said, "Yes, absolutely." Anyways, I went out and trained her in 30, and she was a little bear cat. I said, "She's all right, Joe." I mean, it's only trip in 30. People on here probably call me crazy the way I'm talking. A little bear cat, and I fell right in love with her. He's like, "Are you interested?" And I'm like, "Geez, no, not really. I don't really need another one." Mom and I think we had 3 or 4 in there at the time. And I said, "Mom will kill me." Anyways, I went over to the other side and I got thinking about it. And I'm like, "What? How much?" And they told me a price and what come with her and stuff. And I said, "Yeah, I'll take her." So I didn't tell Mom. I didn't tell. I think I told Stevie that day, but I didn't tell Mom because I knew she'd kill me. Anyways, forget how it come. Oh, that's how it was. Yeah, it was Sunday afternoon. And Steve went into the barn the next morning and said, "I heard you got another horse." Mom said, "What?"
Uh-oh.
Anyways, I got the text message at work and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna give her a shot."
Right on.
When I got her name's Elle on Wheels, and I put her in my name, and Standard Canada messaged me and said, "You got to change the name of that filly." And I'm like, she qualified and raced twice at 2. I'm like, well, what's the reasoning? I guess there's a horse down in the States with the same name or something. And anyways, I didn't want to her name because I thought that was kind of a cool name, Ella on Wheels, and it fit her too. She's a spicy little filly.
Yeah.
And anyways, I got thinking, like, mom and I were thinking about names and stuff, and I think we had come up with 3. And my grandfather's name was Harry, and
Okay.
he's a roll with it, Harry.
Yeah.
And I'm a lineman, and my grandfather was a lineman, and mom come up with the Harry's line crew.
Oh,
So I was
that's
like,
awesome.
I sent it in, and it got approved, and
Yeah.
she's a small filly. She got small feet on her. She wears a size 1 shoe. She got a thin wall. I don't think her feet sting her, but it certainly don't help her. Just how small she is and the small feet on her. But she'll fight. She'll fight all day long. She's got a fight in her heart, and she's grown a bunch. I just took my time with her. She wasn't staked, so I just kept taking my time with her. And the first qualifier, I didn't never get a chance to school her, so I just went out there with the mindset of this is a schooler, Keith. Don't do nothing crazy. She's a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I just took it as a schooler, and then the second qualifier, I opened her up a bit. Obviously, I shouldn't have. She run off the rail in that qualifier, and then the third qualifier, she really impressed me. We cut it 2-1 back half in a minute.
Yeah.
And so I was really impressed with her. And actually, that qualifier she run, I clicked my watch at the quarter pole, and she came her last 3 quarters in 1:30, and I'd only been in 2 with her. So I was like, I don't know what that last quarter would have been or the first one, but 1:30, I was happy with that. And anyways, like I said, our 2-1 back half in a minute. She was good. There was still some left in the tank. And then her first lifetime start, Play Do was in there. And like I say, that horse needs some motivation. And I put my old buddy Adam down. And I just kind of played possum to him. I was more worried about that colt racing good because we were heading to we were planning on going to give him a shot in Woodstock. So I just kind of played possum to him, and she raced good. And then Steve's like, "Why don't you take her down to Woodstock?" And it was going to be her second lifetime start. And it's a long drive, and I was like, "Yeah, well, short fields, they go for 1,800. Yeah, I'll take her. Why not? We'll fill the trailer."
Yeah.
So I took her down there, and she won last week in Woodstock. She just really she come first. I drove her hard too. She come first up, and she was the best in there, so I drove her like the best. And she just really green around the last turn. There was a little telephone booth there, and she seen it, and she shot away from it, and we were kind of pacing away on them. And once she seen that, she kind of forgot what to do. So I had to get her motivated at the head of the lane again. And she went in 2-4, but that's time means nothing. There's more in the tank there. I don't know how much more.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm gonna race her much more. I'll give her a couple more starts, see how she is. And then I plan on turning her out and bringing her back as 4. I think she might grow into a nice little 4-year-old. Like I say, she's not 8, so she any value to anyone. And I'm with Rambo being done, and I don't know what we're gonna do with Play-Doh, so she's just gonna be my little project this winter, and hopefully I can grow her into a nice little 4-year-old, and maybe not. I don't know. Maybe she's done growing, but I'm gonna give her a shot, I think.
Right on. What about some of the race horses you drive? Made a couple notes here. I know one of these, I believe, is owned by a syndicate, or used to be. I'm not sure. Don't Stand in My Way. I know I see somebody on Facebook always talking about this horse, and I think she's part of the ownership group.
Yeah, Helen Landry and
Helen Landry, yeah, that's who it is.
They don't well did as well.
Yeah.
And Chucky O'Connor trains, and he's part owner as well. First time I stepped up on him was in Inverness at the end of last year, and I was having some luck at the end of last year, and my confidence was high. And I first time I ever stepped behind this horse, and I love sitting behind a horse for the first time. I love it. Not that I'm gonna jump it up by any means, but I feel like any horse with someone different behind him, you might get a little more, or you might not too, right?
That's right.
So I stepped up behind him, and Chucky said he can leave with the car, but he got nothing finishing.
Yeah.
And Well, as any horse, you leave hard, you're not going to have as much finishing. So I said, well, that's easy. We drew the outside. I'll take him back, race him off a helmet. I tipped him 3 wide up the backside, and we circled him. He felt
Yeah.
like a good one. I mean, it was the 5 in Inverness, but it doesn't matter to me. They're all fun to sit behind. But yeah, he's an honest racehorse. He got one good brush. You can use it to get into position. You might not have as much finishing, or you can hopefully trip him out and save it for the end. So yeah, no, he's an honest racehorse.
Yeah, there's another one. I've heard this name around, and when I read his name, I just think of Vance announcing this guy, the Yin Yang. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so I got the drive on him this year for a couple starts. He's all right, that horse. I mean, you look at his lines. He's paced 58, 59 respectively.
Yeah.
He draws inside, and gets position. He's all right. He'll plug along. He's not too high on passing. He's probably best on the front end. And anyways, Adam showed me up there last week. He went with them in 56 right off the slammer. He drew the rail, made front easy, and Adam showed me up pretty good there. But no, he's a nice horse. We got a couple threes, couple fours. Hopefully we'll hit the winner's circle here once this summer, anyways.
Yeah.
But and then Adam with him that Friday night, and then we're third and 56 on Sunday. So he raced. I see we got the quarter-mile race Friday night, so that'll be interesting. He can leave pretty good. He can't bust it, but he can leave to hold position. So we're leaving 3/4 race. You never know.
No, that's right. How about bet on Jessica?
Yeah, she's a 3-year-old betting line filly for Wayne Brad McCollum. They gave me qualifying draws there last year and gave me a couple draws at the end of the year in Inverness. So big thanks to them. But and they're continuing to give me a couple draws this year. So she's okay. Yeah, she's small too, small little filly. If she had some size to her, she'd be a real nice filly, I think. But at 2 minutes 59. But we've been drawn terrible. And Wink and I said the last 2 starts, I said if we draw inside, we're going to give them a go here again. And sure it's hard too. I think she's a non-winner's of 3, so there's not many spots to race her. Like the last couple weeks, we drew outside and with aged horses.
Yeah,
so it makes it a little harder. And I see this week she's in the non-winners of 2 and 3, and we drew inside. So. But Woodmere Sinatra's in there. He just went in 57. And there's one other in there. I can't remember who it is. That will be all right. But like I say, we drew inside this week. And she can leave too. We drew 4 there 3 or 4 starts ago. I tried to leave with her in her mark. She had broken equipment. So she put a step in and I had to check her up. But she can leave with any of them too. So we might try and get some position Friday night and be a little closer. I think that'll help her too.
Right on.
So we've asked this question to a few drivers, and it's always been a fun topic to kind of hit on. When you're out on the track, and I know you, Keith, you were as competitive as they all come. Is there any fun between certain drivers on the Truro tracks, or if you're in Inverness or Woodstock or wherever you're traveling? Is there some drivers that you like to really get under their skin, have a little fun with them, poke and prod at them on the track, off the track?
Oh, absolutely.
The list is long.
Yeah, it is. We'll start with Truro. I mean, obviously you got Paul. He's in the barn next to me. We're always shooting the shit and talking out on the track and whatever. So I always like beating Paul. I don't get to do it very often. I always enjoy beating Paul, but and as far as having fun with those guys, I watch those guys too. Even in the race, if Paul comes up alongside me, I'm gonna watch how he's driving that thing and try and learn from it. That I've been learning a lot lately doing that. And especially with the Island boys like Mark and Corey and Adam and stuff, when they come up alongside you, I've just been watching how they've been driving their horses and listening to them and stuff like that. But yeah, so I like driving with them and Ernie laughing and Darren and as far as the Truro boys, who am I forgetting? Todd Trice, he's competitive to drive against.
Oh, they ever.
Darren and I, we always shoot the shit on the track, and Ernie and I are there every morning jogging together. So Ernie's wicked serious. He gets behind the gate. He wears a blind broad 100%.
Yeah.
Which I love. That's great. But before the race and after the race, he'll talk to you and whatever, and we'll shoot and joke around and stuff. But he wears a closed bradle and 100%. He's game face, Ernie. Yeah. But I love when the Island boys come over. Corey, Mark, Adam, Jills. I love talking to them in the paddock. And it's just an honor to line up beside them. Yeah. The other night, I was driving Tango Sealster, and Paul was driving Malignity Post 6.
Oh, yes.
In my career that I'd get to line up beside Malignity or whatever. I was like, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But and like I say, I love when the boys come over, the Island boys. Just talking to them, shooting the shit, watching them drive, how they drive in the race with you, and they're all good too. They'll all talk to you. Brody McPhee, he's probably the one I joke around the most with.
Yeah. Brody's, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see.
And Corey and I always joke about Adam. Corey said to me last Sunday, he said, we just had to get rid of Murner to win a couple legger.
Yeah, there you go.
But
so tell us about your what was it like in Woodstock? What was your experience like there?
First time I was ever there. Like I say, I had raced in Fredericton and St. John and stuff, so I was expecting it to be a little bit like that. And it reminded me a lot of Fredericton. I love Fredericton. That's a nice little track to race at.
I know.
I was stabled there for 6 months with Eddie and Kathy and loved it. Made a lot of friends. Brian Embleton was one of them, actually. I became really close with him. Sitting in the tack rooms in the morning having a coffee with him.
Yeah.
I learned so much just sitting in the tack room having a coffee talking to these guys.
Oh my God, definitely.
That's where you get a lot of knowledge. Like, just telling me 20 years ago about what a bridle he wore on whoever. Like, maybe that's a bridle I'll try on something one day or whatever, right? It could be anything. But I just learned so much. But Woodstock, it's tight for sure.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and just a small backside. We weren't there for very long. We shipped up in the morning. We were gonna go the night before, but it just didn't work out. So we shipped up in the morning and we basically just raced and left. But I went over to the other side to the grandstand to order a wind pitcher for my filly. And they had music going over there and they were hollering, shooting, having a great time. And even when I was in the winner's circle, like they don't know me. I was from Truro, and they were all hollering, "Congratulations, great job!" Like just a great place. And I called Eddie there after, and he said, "That's a beautiful place, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, it really is. Yeah, no, great spot. Hopefully we'll hold it together for sure."
So what you've won a few races in your young career so far, and besides your first win, what's maybe another one or two that kind of stick out to you as ones you look back on?
Well, I don't got very many, Scott, so probably all of them.
I know.
I think I only got like I don't know, 12 wins maybe career or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but so all of them are pretty close memory. But the first one, obviously, it was good to get the monkey off the back, and then later on in the summer, Kurt and Carey trusted me with their horse Tango Sealster. Big thanks to them for giving me that drive. They're great people to drive for. Their horses are always ready to rock. So I got to drive Tango, and second start we win 56-2, 28-1. So that's my fastest win to date.
Oh, okay.
everybody says, Danny Romo said, if you get a little patience, you're going to be all right. And here I did pull the 2-hole to 3/4 pole with Tango, but he's a nice enough horse that he overcame my bad drive and got the win for me. So that's a fast win to date. And Rambo's win last year at the end of the year. It was actually on the day 8 years that my dad had passed away, November 4th. And barn and getting ready to load him up, and there was snot coming out of his nose, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Pulled his temperature was okay. I said, well, we're going anyways, and we were shipping a couple others. So I threw him on the trailer and got him up to Inverness, and he seemed like himself. He warmed up the best he's ever warmed up. And it wasn't really in the back of my head that it was my dad's day. And sure enough, I tipped him 3 wide up the backside, and we win going away on them. So that one is probably the most. And like I say, we win in 2-7, but I don't care.
Yeah. They're all the same, right? You don't care how fast they are.
100%. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Caitlin's going to ask you some fun questions here to finish up the night, Keith.
Sure. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Let's have some fun. Oh, I can't say that. Like that doesn't flow right. Let's go behind the game. How's that one? That worked a little bit better.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. First one. If money was no object, which we all know in this racket, money is an option. Is like an object here. Like these horses are. What would you do with the money?
I'd be a full-time golfer. I wouldn't be a professional golfer. I don't got that in my game, but I'd be in the winters. I'd be jogging for someone in the mornings, whoever it may be, and I'd be golfing in the afternoon. And in the summers, I'd be back in Ontario, jogging for someone in the mornings and golfing in the afternoon, stress-free.
Yeah.
Hey, just Danny Romo has always said that he's going to retire, which we all know that's never going to happen. You could be his morning jogger.
Yeah, whoever, right? I'll jog one for everyone, right? It don't matter. As long, I'll have an afternoon tea time, but yeah, if money wasn't an option, I'd be stress-free golfing and jogging horses.
Awesome. What song would you choose if you had the opportunity to have a song played back going to the winner's circle?
I feel like it should be an upbeat song or something like that, or a pick-me-up song, but I'm gonna go with Luke Combs' Hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that song.
What is your go-to pizza?
The works for sure, 100%. The more you can get on there, the better.
If you could go to dinner with 3 people, who would you pick?
I'm gonna have to go with Tiger Woods, John Davis, and I'm gonna hit a soft spot here. My father. If I could have one more dinner with him, it'd be unreal. So I was trying to think about a third celebrity or a trainer or a driver, but I'm gonna have to go with the old man.
Absolutely. If someone was to explain to us what your personality would be as a color, what color would they say?
That's easy. Blue.
Blue and white.
Everything, all my t-shirts, my shorts, my drive suit, my collars, my hair, everything's blue. I don't think I could pick another color. Growing up in school, my favorite color was purple for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, and probably Adam got me on the blue and white colors, I guess.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but I shouldn't say that. Purple was always my color, and then I progressed on to blue, and then it just so happened to be the racing color, so everything fell into place, and I think people could describe me as blue.
What Disney character are you most like?
Probably Woody. Yeah, Cowboy Woody. Yeah. Yeah, I used to do cattle penning back in the day. I had an old quarter horse, so I did the cowboy thing for a bit and was into the cattle penning, and then it just wasn't enough rush for me, so I get into the harness racing a little heavier. So I'm gonna say Woody on that one.
Good one.
Interesting. What big event would you like to see that's on your bucket list?
I'll go with a horse answer for this one. I kind of get off topic on these questions, not saying horse related. So I'll go with the Little Brown Jug. Everybody seems to talk that up like it's no other.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll ever get there, but someday if Mom and I could fly out and head to the Little Brown Jug, I think that'd be pretty special.
Cool.
Last one, and this is a good one, because this is all question that everybody has funny people that they would choose. They don't look like you. They don't even might not even act like you, but people think that that's who they should be when they get an actor. If you were in a movie and the movie was all about Keith Legge, what actor would best play you?
I thought of a movie to base myself off an actor. And I know I talked about Adam a lot, but I thought of the movie Step Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like if Adam and I could reenact that movie, it'd be John Riley playing my part.
Right on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with John Riley, and it's also one of my favorite movies too. And Talladega Nights, and they're just hilarious.
Awesome. So
Perfect.
you've got a big week coming up at Truro Raceway with Atlantic Grand Circuit Week, not too far away. You've got some drives coming up this Friday. Have you got a couple that you might give the handicappers listening to a tip on that you should be close, or that you feel you can get the job done?
Yeah, well, I mean, I give every horse, try to give every horse the best shot. You know what? You listen to interviews of Mark and Jills and Adam and Corey and all them guys. You know, we're racing on half-mile tracks, so you got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
So I've tried to be an aggressive driver. There's been a couple times that's hurt me, and if Romo watches this, I'm listening. I'll be patient.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no. As for Friday night, what have we got? The first race, Ear Quinn off the rail. He raced good from out of the 8-hole last week. He that's a mile and a quarter. So that'll be interesting for him. But if he's got the rail, he can leave with the car.
Can.
If we make front and get a couple cheap fractions there, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
The third race, I got my filly. I don't know what she can do. I don't know. I think she can pace 2 minutes. I really do. I think. I mean, Curtin Carey's horse is the best off the rail. My Dingling, I think, and Straight Shines in there. If we pick up a check with her, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Played in there too. So if he beats me for third, well, that's even better.
Yeah.
But one I'm going to touch on is just a country boy.
Okay.
It's going to be the first time I ever drove this horse. It's for Wink and Brad McCollum. I seen the list come out, and it come out. I had 5 drives, and then when I refreshed the page, I had 8, and I seen I was listed on him. So I'm super honored for that drive. He just went in 57 his last start. He's a 3-year-old. He got the 8-hole, but I mean, if he races as good as he did last time, he'll be right there as long as I don't mess it up.
You could mess it up. You could mess it up, and we could get a check too.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, but
Take it easy.
no. As for my catch drives, I'm going to count that in as a live one. I like that colt. I think he's all right. And then I got the Yin Yang in the quarter of a mile. We got 5 in it. That'll be interesting.
Yep.
He's honest. He'll race every week.
Yeah.
Tango Fieldster, we got the rail this week. It doesn't benefit us. He gets rough on the turns. We might get away a little closer, but that horse, he can pace 55 every week. He's a nice horse. I'd say he's the nicest horse I drove to date. He's down in class. We get away from Malignity and American Risk. So I consider that one a live one, 100%. If we get, I can't remember what that race is, 3/4 of a mile. So if we can get away a little closer and I get him out and rolling early I did that last week and just good horses in there, and he pays 55 again, but I should have stayed where I was. But we'll give him a shot this week. Like I say, he's down in class. We get away a little closer. Don't have to come as hard. He'll be right there, guaranteed.
Okay, just one last question. I got to ask you, you got any set goals for this year? Do you want to hit a certain win level or anything like that?
Yeah, it's. I was wondering if you're going to ask that question because I was thinking about it. And at the end of last year, I was having a good go. I ended up with a few wins there at the end of the year in Inverness. And I was like, this is fun, this winning thing. I had 2 doubles. I should have won 3 or 4 the last day, but just had some traffic trouble. I win 2 that day. Like I should have won 3, maybe 4. So on the drive home, Rambo would win that day, and I was high on myself, and confidence was there, and we were all having fun. Mom was with me, my girlfriend was with me, and we were having a blast. And I think I ended the year last year with an average. It was a little over 300, and I had 10 wins. So this year, I said I'd like to keep that average there and maybe double my wins. Well, let me tell you, I think I got 2 wins this year. My average isn't where I want it to be, so I threw that out the window. I'm back to the drawing board here and just trying to go out and have some fun. Do the best I can. Like I say, have some fun. And the luck will come. I just got it and just focus on driving for checks. I was the trainer on the sidelines, just wishing for a check. So if I get my trainer to check, and I think that's where my goal is now. Get checks, have fun, and be safe. Don't worry about the numbers.
And like Romo said, be patient. The success will come.
Yeah, 100%, 100% for sure.
So listen, Keith, thanks very much for joining Caitlin and myself. Really appreciated getting you on and letting people kind of know a little bit about you. They've watched you here for a couple of years, and we wish you the best for the rest of the racing season, buddy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me, and I wish God the best, and we'll see you around at the track, Caitlin, and hope I didn't talk too much.
No worries.
No, that's great. Okay, so that's a wrap for episode number 38 here with Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate. And we'll be back shortly with our next episode, which will be a pop-up episode. So we'll see you then. So again, thanks to our sponsor, American History, and his owner, Patrick Hill, and Scott Waddell, along with my co-host, Caitlin Wesley, signing off. And we'll see you next time.